While it all record, off record, I still want the act, not the ghost.
Whoa. Oh, I still love that intro. Well, hello and welcome to the DC UK podcast. This is season 4, episode 20. And believe it or not, this is the 97th ever episode, which just boggles my mind. So we're almost at number 100. Unreal. Absolutely unbelievable. But as always, I'm your host, James Graham. Great to see the chat is already kicking off. So a few shout outs. Hello to Michael. Hello to Stu. Hello to Isaiah. And hello to Heather. Welcome to the show. If you're new to watching and you're out there and you're not dropped a chat, drop us a little message in there. Be great to see all those guys out there, all you people out there. It'd be awesome to hear where you're listening from as well. Are you listening on your phone? On your trip home? Are you just sat at home shooting some people on Sniper Elite? Like I know somebody actually is doing, or whatever it is you're doing. As you can tell, I'm just sat at home talking to you guys. As you can see, if you're watching, there's a little play area for my little lad. Anyway, we've got a bit of an epic episode. As always, we'll do a little bit of trivia to start the show off. We'll go through the news. We'll review that match from last weekend because, we have to, even though it's a little bit depressing. Some great comments out there when I asked what you guys thought. So if you've got any comments about the game against Philadelphia, please do drop them in the chat. We will be talking about the game this weekend against Atlanta. So again, same, if you've got any thoughts, any questions about that, please drop them in there. And, if all those questions that you've got, anything else, doesn't matter. Even if it's not soccer related, just hit them in the chat. We'll answer them at the end of the show. And we'll wrap it up by giving you that answer to that trivia question that we'll give you in a very small moment. As I was listening across the pond in New York City, the big NYC, the Big Apple, been there, very busy. It was mental. I remember back in, 2019? So just before, the year before the whole pandemic, we went out there, took a couple of days, went over to DC for my birthday. I went to see DC versus Montreal. Drew 0-0, clean sheet. Just no goals in that one. And then did NYC again. Brooklyn Heights, beautiful area. Really enjoyed it. Would I go again? I probably would, but only to see all the other bits of New York, not just the Manhattan area and the standard touristy areas. I want to see a few other places around. So let's kick things off. Trivia. So the question is all about the game this weekend against our upcoming opponents, and that's what I will always aim to do with these. So this question, which is about to come up on screen, but if you're not watching, you're listening, it is in 13 games against Atlanta United. DC United have had 13 different goal scorers. So 13 games, 13 different goal scorers. But who scored the most goals for DC United against Atlanta? It's a good one. I like it. It surprised me a little bit when I was looking at this one. So I would love to hear what you guys think out there. Obviously, pop them in the chat as always. If you're listening, drop me a little DM, see what you think. But before we get to the end of the show, because that's just cheating, and we don't like cheats. So we've got a few bits of news. I will reveal the answer to the trivia question at the end of the show. So get your thinking caps on. We've got plenty of time to have a little think. But yes, a few news points. So let's play the odd thing. So coming up on today's news, the big one that came out today, that Pablo had tweeted, it looks like Benteke will be traveling to Atlanta this weekend. So potentially he'd be making his debut. I know I said that last time against Philly, and I was wrong. But this time, even Pablo's saying it, so there's a little bit more credibility to it. I would love to see him make his debut this weekend. He hasn't played for a little while, so I don't expect him to be starting in the lineup from the get go. I would imagine he'll come in off the bench, probably at half time or something like that. Or if he does start, he'll be subbed off for like 60 minutes or something. But for a striker, I'd want him to make an impact. So I'd rather him come off the bench rather than maybe miss a little bit of time at the end of the game where you might be able to run them a little bit ragged. I know he's not the quickest player, but he's got the strength. He's got a great first touch, so you never know. We might get that side of things. But yeah, I'm happy that it looks like he's going to be traveling, and I'm really excited to see if he makes his debut. But great stuff about the game this weekend. It's going to be awesome. It's at a reasonable time for everyone. I want to say, even in Belgium, it'll be 10 o'clock kickoff for her, and it's a 9 o'clock kickoff for me this weekend. So happy days. So there's that. Other bits of news we've got is again, this seemed to, I think it was today this came out again from Pablo, reported with Sam Steskel of the Athletic. Moses Nyman looks like he's going to be leaving us. A bit of a shame. He has quite a lot of potential, but not consistent enough in my eyes. It looks like he's going to be transferred to Belgian second division side SK Beveren. Not come across these guys before, so be interesting to see how he fits in there. Fees reported to be around $350,000 plus a sell-on fee. So if he gets sold on, we'll make something back, a bit like the Griffin Yao deal, but obviously a little bit more up front. I want to know whether you guys think that's a good idea. Obviously, he's not been playing a lot for us. Kind of disappeared again after being sent off against Cincinnati, same as last season. Seemed to have happened. I wonder whether this is more towards maybe a confidence thing, where he can play in a team that's not as well known and get that game time, have less pressure on him to help him develop. And then maybe we'll bring him back later on. I'm excited to see what he can do. I think it'll be a great move for him, and hopefully we'll build up that consistency that he needs to be a regular starter. So hopefully it'll come good. Again, if you've got any thoughts on that, please do drop them in the old chitty chatter. Other bits, Taxi. Obviously, he played in MLS All Star. Great to see him after he's been scoring on a regular basis. Well, I say regular basis yet. We've not had anyone score recently, but when he first joined us, he was hit the ground running. He wore the number 5 shirt in the MLS All Star match, and he actually revealed the reason why. Because obviously, number 5 for a striker isn't a usual number, and it was all to do with his friendship with Brad Smith. They seem to have been getting on really well from the get go. And he said he sent him a message showing the number 2, showing him that he stands with him and that he loves him. I think that's a really nice touch. Shows the togetherness of the squad, and it's Taxi. I mean, he always seems to have a smile on his face, so it's great that he's built up friendships within the team straight away, and he's getting on with everyone. Because again, the rumors about him before he joined us was that he was a bit of a disruption in the dressing room, and he didn't get on well, and he was always one of those guys that I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of the word. A disruptor, like I said. But that doesn't seem to have been the case since he's joined us, and I'm really happy to see that, and long may it continue. Last bit of news that I got from this last week, Rooney's admitted that the hopes of a playoff for this year have gone. I think those hopes had gone a little bit before for us as fans, but for him, yeah, they've gone. That defeat against Philadelphia was the final nail in the coffin for him. bit of an embarrassment, shame. Just if it was going to go wrong, it went wrong in that game for the second time against Philly. Obviously, I don't need to remind you guys out there what happened the first time we played them this season, but that was it. So playoffs not going to happen this year, but that's why we start 2023 now. Hence the name of the episode. We need to prep for next year. We need to make sure we're getting the players who we know will be here next year, getting that game time, and blood those people in, get the fitness up, get them ready, because we can't have another year like this, because this has just been appalling. There's been chats about whether it's been worse than 2013. Some people say yes, some people say no, because we've got more points in the league this year. But some people are saying yes because we won a cup in 2013. So it feels worse because we've really broken some bad records, which I will mention soon. A couple of those, it's just been diabolical for me. I want to see something change over the next few games for the rest of the season. I want to see the pressure off us. If Rooney's saying that we've got no hopes of playoff, well, let's just kick some ass. Let's just go out there and disrupt everyone else's season just to make things a little bit more exciting. Nobody's going to expect us to do anything now. Everyone's thinking, yeah, it's DC United. They're not going to score any goals. They're going to get beat. Let's just turn up and spoil the party, eh? I mean, we nearly did it against LAFC, where we really played very, very well. They only scored when we were down to 10 men, and that was because Ochoa had slipped over and it was an open goal. So, there is talent there. It just needs to be found in the right way. I truly believe this can be a team that can go places, but we need to have that consistency. We need to have that confidence. Just things just need to happen. Well, we couldn't have got much closer to getting a goal against Philadelphia, hitting the post, having a penalty that should have been a penalty not given. What more can we do without actually hitting the back of the net? So, yeah. But that's the news. I'm going to roll the theme, and then we're going to start talking about last weekend's game. So, last weekend's game. Philadelphia. Thanks very much. Just before I start going through that, as I was just saying, we've had 3 gaffers in one season. That's the reality of the situation. There's been absolutely no chance of these boys settling into any coaching style. Oh yeah, I completely agree with that. It's been a tough old year. 3 coaches, 2 of them similar styles, but not consistent. And then Rooney coming in with a completely new formation, a completely new style of play. Yeah, I get that. But these are professional footballers. They are paid to do something. And, there's only so much leeway we can give them. But, hey, I'm not a professional footballer, so I don't know that. Anyway, Philadelphia. A game at Audi Field, which I did stay up for. Stayed through the full game and suffered through it all. Apart from the second goal, when I saw Jack out. But kind of glad I didn't see that one. I've seen the highlights there. So we obviously got beat 6-0. That's 13 goals conceded to Philadelphia in one year. 6 of those to Julian Carranza. Thanks for that. Possession-wise, near enough 50-50, 49.6 to 50.4. Shots, we have 14. So we have plenty of attempts to their 22. We only had 2 on target, so that's 12. 12. That's a ridiculous amount. Offsides, 2 to their 6. So plenty of offsides in this one. It's been a while since I've seen it that high. It's usually a couple of piece or one, and I've seen times when there's been no offsides this year. 8 fouls to their 9. So a real low amount of fouls considering what the season's been like for both teams. If I remember rightly, when I was previewing the game last week, I was expecting a lot of fouls in this game, on average about every 2 to 3 minutes. but only 17 in this one. So pretty good. That just shows that there was a nice bit of flow to this one. And then expected goals 1.5 to the 3 point. Was it 3.6? I thought it was 2.6. Either way, it was too many. Um, so on paper, yeah, we were well and truly beat. But there's was a few positives from DC. The first 20 minutes, we did start really, really well. We did have that penalty shout turned down, which was in the 3rd minute. Jack Elliott handling in the box. Second time he did it in a week, and it wasn't given for the second time in a week. That's just really frustrating, to say the least. Yeah, VAR didn't bother to give this one. To me, it was a blatant handball. Out here, well, not completely out there, but move back a bit to there. Away from his body, made his body bigger to be able to block it. And if that's not a penalty, I don't know what is. To me, that was Stonewall. That was just complete, utter penalty. I thought I'd tune into the MLS instant replay segment that they do on YouTube. They thought it was a penalty as well, which I don't always agree with Weeby and Charlie, but yeah, I couldn't believe it. When I saw that happen, I was like, no, that's not fair. What I think in the DC UK chat, it was just like, what more do we need to do? And then we started playing quite decent football. There was a through ball from Miguel Berry to Ravel Morrison through 1-on-1. Great save by Andre Blake. Really, really good save. Can't argue with that one. And then just a few minutes later, in the 19th minute, Taxi hits the post. And I was just like, this is just our luck. Really was our luck. Then they go and score a goal, which was, to be fair, it was a decent goal. Ure got himself some nice space. Nice little fake turn. Opened himself up. And yeah, good finish. Questionable on some of the defending, or whether we should have been tighter to him, but let's give the guy credit. It was a good goal. And then they got a penalty just before halftime as well. A soft penalty because Ure, again, and the man involved, went down very, very easily, but Alfaro allowed the ref to make that decision. He put his foot in, and he shouldn't do that in the box. Not when you know any of the ball. So, yeah, Alfaro shouldn't have done it, but I've seen those decisions not given, so it was a bit. But yeah, then it was 2-0 just before half time. You think if we went in at the break 1-0 down, there was an opportunity to get something out of the game. But going in 2-0 down just before half time makes life a little bit more tough. You could tell heads were down because when we came out in the second half, that was it. 47th minute. I don't know what Roma was doing. Just a pool ball out. Ends up with Carranza, who just, to be fair, again, a really lovely finish from just outside the box, killed it into the far post. But Romo in the second half, I mean, I don't know what to say. It was horrific, horrendous match. And Rooney knew that at the post-match press conference. He even mentioned about it being unacceptable. That it was a game for him to forget. I mean, yeah, Isaiah was at the game. Just, I'd hate to have been there for that one. Plenty of Philly fans in attendance for that one. I think there was 100 at the Screaming Eagles tailgate, and then there was another 140 on top of that at the game. So you're looking at over 200 fans for this one, which for MLS, I'm pleased to see that for a team that's on the road. Generally, because of things like the distance, you don't get a lot of fans going away. Yeah, I mean, in the first half, I did see and I heard fans chanting, and it was nice, and not just from the Chico stand. It was And I hope, obviously, Isaiah, if you were there, I'd hope you agree that there was a bit more, there was more vocal, there was more sounds coming from all over the grounds rather than just in one place. Um, I would love to see more of that going towards the end of the season and just going forward. I know Heather was obviously in the group chat just trying saying that she was trying to get things going where she sits. So we need it. If we want if we Audi Field to be a fortress, we need it to be an intimidating atmosphere. And we're not going to get intimidating if we just go one stand. That's doing the doing the chance, getting in the players' faces. We need it from all corners. That's how it works. And that's what you see in Europe. That's what you see in the EPL, in the Championship, in League One and League Two. It comes from all over. Yes, you have your main stand like the Cup. You have things like that, but you don't seem to have that in MLS really. It seems a bit odd that you just have your support section, and that's it. That's where the noise comes from. I'd love to see it all over. Again, as I thank you for coming in there. Roma was playing forward of the midfield line way too often, and it was embarrassing. He's not an MLS goalkeeper. I mean, he has his moments. I will give him some credit. He has some good moments. He is able to pull off a good save, but yes, he plays really far out. Rooney wants him to do that. Rooney wants him to play far out. Or maybe he's not that far out, but yeah. Sometimes I just think we need to go back to basics. Just simple 4-4-2. That's what I love. And just bit of static, classic wing play, hard midfield like we have in Paulson. Obviously, our defense was makeshift as well. I've got to put that out there. Obviously, Birnbaum being suspended, injuries, it was just one of those things. People in Chico Stan were leaving in the 70th minute. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that we're leaving. It was an abysmal performance. And if there's any way you're going to get front office to notice is by emptying the stadium. I'm not 100% against doing that. I think it's a good protest to do. And that's one of the things that did come up in when I was asking for your guys' opinions about that game. Victor on Instagram was saying, is this time for an organized fan protest? There's ways we can do it, and there's ways that you can get the front office to notice about our upset and our frustration with what's happening. And you saw with what happened with the Spirit and how well that was done and how that was got change made. I'm just one guy on a podcast over in another continent. Is it time for an organized protest? The change needs to be made, and I don't. The backroom team. So when I say backroom, I mean Rooney, the coaches, apart from maybe Chad because he's been there a long time. But there's people in the club who've been there a very, very long time. I think that's what needs to change. We've got a mixture of old heads and we've got new heads. And I don't think we can truly move on into MLS, whatever number we're going to call it now, if we still got people thinking like it's MLS 1.0, 1.52, because that's years ago. You could probably think about who I'm talking about here. I don't want to name names, but I'm not talking about Lucy. I'm not talking about Sean. Take that what you want. So I'm just going to go through some of the points that were raised with me when I asked for your guys' opinions, because I don't think it'd be fair if I just ignore those. But Adrian, who's a member of DCUK, just said, "Is it next season yet?" Well, not quite there. We've still got a few games to go. We wish it was next season, but there's still time to get some proud moments out of the year. Yes, we can't look on the season overall as a good season, That's well and truly long gone, but there's still games in the season where we can cause a few upsets and have some good games. And I think we just need to allow the players just to play the game without any pressure. So, and get us prepared for 2023 so we can use this time now wisely to get some, just get to know the players better, and what they can truly do without that pressure on them now. Hopefully, Rooney, if you're listening, or any of the players, if you listen out there, pressure's off you. Just play your game. Just get some results. We just need to get that first goal, and just break it down into small, easy chunks. Break it down. Look at the first 15 minutes. We've been doing a lot better in those first 15 minutes since we conceded however many times in a row in the first 10 to 15 minutes. We've sorted that bit out. The next bit is the goal. So if we can get there, then things will just start building. So, and that's the kind of thing I use when I used to play golf a lot. It's just break it down into chunks. So I used to do the first 3 holes and then moving on to the next 3 holes and then so on and so forth. So you just do those 3 holes and you forget about them. That's what we need to do as a team, is get through those 15 minutes without conceding. Then the next 15 minutes, let's look to score a goal. And then the next 15 minutes, let's not concede. Let's not concede before halftime. I think that's how we need to do it. Eric, who also is a DC UK member, he's one of the newest members. Just saying that was a very good Philly team. Yes, 100%. They're one of the best teams best team in Eastern at the moment. That took down a DC unit that is short on fitness, as Rooney has mentioned. Totally depleted at the back, which when you've got Romo in goal, Birnbaum out, suspended, Heinz Ike out injured, Smith injured. So yeah, we really are playing not our full strength team there. Still not used to playing together and vulnerable to collapse. The problems are known. He trusts Rooney to correct them. And I think that's a great little sentiment at the end there. He trusts Rooney to correct them. And I think given time, give this off season, we will have quite a lot of change, I think. And what we'll see was once Rooney's got that full preseason under his belt with the team, properly nailed down his philosophy, I think we'll see 2023 come good. Tom Lice, who gets mentioned on the broadcasts quite often alongside ourselves. So welcome to the show, Tom. I know you do watch and listen quite often. It was like, it's just unacceptable, even if it was 3 games in 8 days with a long travel in the middle. He's asking, what do I think it says about the other guys on the team that Paulson, who's been here for around a month, chose to go and apologize to the Chico stand after the game? I think that shows a heck of a lot of character from Paulson. He was given the captain's armband. I think that's absolutely right that he went and done that. I think that's great. It was an unacceptable result, and he went over to apologize. I think that's how it should be, and he did that off his own back. Nothing from the longer term guys. That could be down to embarrassment, could be down to shame. They had the meet the team the next day. Not great. Very bad timing for that. So yeah, if any of you guys out there were at the meet the team event, what was the feeling like? Could you tell that they just come off a 6-0 defeat? Was there any comments? I would love to know. Brian Lake, who was also a member of DC UK, just was asking, is the season over yet? I wish, because we could just forget about this year and just move on to the next one. But, as I've said previously, we can use this time wisely to, really get going and make a difference, ready for 2023. So as the episode title is, 2023 starts now. That's what we've got to be thinking about. Daniel M on Twitter, last time this happened, we got Rooney and 6 new players. With that as the expectation, what should we expect to happen following this loss? What else is there besides changing the front office? What is there left to change? We've had numerous managers. We've had numerous players come and go. We've still got players coming and going. We've had change in the back room. The last bit is the front office. Would this cause them to leave? I don't think so. Not at all. So just having a quick drink of water there. It would take something big for something to change, especially with the front office. Don't know what that would be. Maybe that's down to Victor's point, organised fan protest. Yeah. We're all frustrated. We're all embarrassed. We're all annoyed. And we're just feeling a bit negative right now as fans of DC United. And Rooney is someone who we can get behind, but we need to know that the front office are 100% behind them, because if they're anything less, it really does need to change. I don't know how many chances we need to give them. Have we given them enough chances and that is it when that changes? But would that just really disrupt 2023? Yeah, it's a difficult one. Harish just coming in on the chat there, not over the loss yet, to be honest. It made the Chico stand quiet for a few minutes when you thought things couldn't go worse. Yeah, I know. Harish, you were in the Chico stand from what I remember in that game. So yeah, it was a tough one, incredibly tough. Heather woke up convinced that it was a 7-0 loss. So slightly better than she remembered. Heather, is it still better than you remembered? You know, what can you say? DC Winnerman on Twitter is asking, why is Kamara not starting? Barry's been ineffectual. He's been ineffectual from the point of he's not scored yet. For a striker, what you're paid to do is score goals. That's what it appears to be. But he's got good. He's got a great first touch. He can hold up the ball really well. But I think what will happen is Benteke comes in and we'll see Barry and Kamara on the bench. I'd expect it to be taxiing Benteke up top. That's how I see it. So, and Rodriguez and Hopkins on the wings with Paulson and maybe Knaus in midfield. Knaus or Durkin. That's how I see it being in the midfield and up top. Lucasa, actually, just going back onto the Kamara bit, I just don't see him playing. Yes, he was our leading goal scorer and almost won Golden Boot last year, but I genuinely just don't see it happen. Harish rightly says Ravel. Yeah, I forgot about Ravel there for a moment. Yeah. Oh. Or maybe then it would be Knaus or Durkin with Paulson in the centre, then Taxi on the right, Ravel just behind Benteke and Rodriguez on the left. So the 4-2-3-1. That's more of a likely, or a 4-3-3 with Ravel in the middle alongside either Durkin, Knaus, or Paulson. One of those two. Yeah, La Casa, not a great night for the home supporters, being outsung by Phillies visiting fans all game. It did come across like that on the broadcast, so I'll respectfully disagree with that one. What are your thoughts on the Chico stand and where do they go from here? Well, the Chico stand's invaluable. They've got to be behind the team, but like I said before, it doesn't just need to be the Chico stand. It needs to be the full stadium that needs to be behind the team. What I'd also like to see is us attacking the Chico stand in the second half. We don't seem to do that enough. And I've seen him mentioned before. I can't remember where, but it was asked me what I thought about that, and I'm like, we want to be attacking our loud end in the second half. Really, I don't think we should be doing it in the first. yeah, I think Harish is just agreeing with me there. We need to attack that side in the second half, but we also need the atmosphere to be coming from all corners of the stadium. So I know, again, as I mentioned before, Heather, you were trying to get where you are going. And if I can say anything to the fans out there, to you guys out there who go to the games, whether you're a season ticket member or whether you just go on the odd occasion, get behind the team by singing the songs. What I would actually love to see is, and if anyone from the club is listening, is get the lyrics for the songs on the scoreboards so everyone knows what to sing at the right times. That would be very cool. Or have it on the app, or have little printouts or cards on each seat. Why can't we do that? Just to help push things through, just to get things going, just to start it off. I would love to know whether you guys think that's a good idea. Do we get the songs up on the scoreboard, or do we get the songs on the website or on the app? Something just to get the atmosphere going again. So that's where I think it should go from here. So so attack the Chico stand in the second half and get the full stadium going by just getting the lyrics to all the chants. Screaming Eagles, District Soldiers, get that going. Get together, get all the songs together, get them into one place, send them into the club, and let's get something going. Heather thinks that's a great idea, so thank you very much. So that's that game, which leads us on to this weekend's game, which is away from home. So can't really do much at the moment, but I know some people will be at the game this weekend in that massive stadium in Mercedes-Benz. But it is Atlanta versus DC United at the Mercedes-Benz, August 28th, 2022. 4 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff, 9 p.m. 9 p.m. I love that. 9 p.m. kickoff for us over here in the UK. And for us, it's also live on Sky Sports Football. So it is on the main pay TV channels. Awesome to see. I think actually for everywhere else, it's not on the DC website this week. No, it is on Univision, TUDN, and on Twitter with English audio. So no Dave Johnson this weekend, which is a huge shame because we'll miss Dave. So I'll probably end up watching on Sky Sports for this one, which is great. I love that. Getting to watch it on actual normal TV. So a few things about this one. So head-to-head wise, there's been 13 games, as I said in the trivia question. We've won 6. Atlanta have won 7. There's been no draws. So you know there's going to be goals in this one. Atlanta have won 5 of the last 6 between the two sides. DC, we've won once in those 6 previous games. As mentioned, there's been no draws, which means there's a second highest amount of meetings between two sides that have not had a draw. The only other fixture that's had more is Dallas versus Tampa Bay. So that shows you how long ago that was, and that was with 18 games without a draw. Atlanta have only won 4 matches in the last 21, leading back to the DC game on April 2nd. So they're not being fantastic this year either. We've also what else have we had? DC's defeat of 6-0 was the 3rd time we've been beaten by at least that margin in our history. The other 2 times were against Philly in July and New York City FC October last year. Joseph Martinez has scored 7 times against us. 6 of those at the Mercedes-Benz. So no player has actually scored more times at home against a single opponent than he has. He's actually tied with 3 others. We've failed to score in the last 5 straight MLS matches for the 2nd time in the club history. We've previously done that July to August, so same time of year, back in 2002. The last time a team went 6 straight matches without scoring was Chivas USA in 2014. So, yeah. Atlanta's roster. So they've got three DPs in Thiago Almeida, Luis Araujo, and Joseph Martinez. They've got two players in the under 22 initiative in Franco Ibarra and Santiago Sosa. And they do have one generation Adidas player and Eric Santino, who's currently out on loan. They've got a number of homegrown players as well. So we know how dangerous these guys can be. They're normally a very good side. They've got a decent coach. Just things haven't quite gone to plan for them this year. We all know how that feels. So, but the Mercedes-Benz is a great stadium. It's got the atmosphere, which is quite intimidating. It's loud. It's on turf because it's also shared with NFL. So it's not great. But Brad Guzan is out injured, which is a shame. I'm sad about that because I love watching Brad Guzan fumble against us. He's done it on many occasions. It would have been nice to see that again. But no ball Brad this weekend. Yeah, it's a shame. I want to know your score predictions out there for this one because it'll be tough. Let's just think about, obviously, we've got Benteke potentially making his debut. So, is it going to be enough change this weekend to make a difference for us? Are we going to get that goal? Are we going to do anything in this one? My realistic head says no. I just don't see us getting anything out of this game. I think it's going to be another defeat, which is horrible for me to say. But the pressure is off because playoffs, we can't get them. It's just, we're so far behind. Let me just bring the table up in just a moment. I'm just going to go through some of the comments whilst that's loading. Harish just previously gone on about the outfield situation. He'd also have a dedicated away stand at outfield. Have had a lot of away fans getting a seat in the Chico stand. Okay. A couple of things on that one. We don't really need to have a dedicated away stand. I enjoy the fact in MLS that there's no dedicated away areas. Or generally there's no dedicated away areas. You can get a ticket wherever. I like that. I don't want us to segregate home and away fans like we do over here. To me, that just ends up encouraging a bit of hooliganism and things like that. That's what I love about MLS atmosphere. Going to MLS games, fans get on, generally speaking, anyway. But you just don't make this tickets available for the Chico stand to away fans. That's one thing. But also, if they've got tickets for other areas in the stadium and they're still getting in the Chico stand, that's down to security, really, isn't it? They shouldn't be allowing it. But then, if they get in the Chico stand, let them. Just let them have them. Just out-sing them, though. And if they cause a little bit of an issue, then get security involved. But, I wouldn't want a dedicated away stand. More of a dedicated away area, maybe. But again, allow the mixture. Had a Ticketmaster issue too, because anyone can buy a ticket in the sections. Ticketmaster, that's another thing, isn't it? We don't generally have that issue over here. You get the tickets from the club, and that's it. If you resell them, that's down to you. But generally speaking, you get the tickets from the club. So, yeah, Ticketmaster, shaky fist. And yeah, they're not going to change their policy. Absolutely, they just want their money at the end of the day. That's all they're after. And the away fans were moved to different seats. Cool, that's awesome then. That's if that's what's happening, then I'm happy about that. That's fine. Let's just try prevent it from happening in the first place. But if we can't, at least they get moved away. So that's cool. Right. So back to the standings. So Atlanta are currently just above us, but they are 8 points clear. So this could close the gap to Atlanta quite nicely. If we can do that, that'll be 5 points in it. But we've played the same amount of games. We don't have any games. We have one game in hand on Toronto, who are on the same points. So it's And just to kind of just put in emphasis on the Rooney point about our playoff hopes being completely dead and buried. Columbus, who are on 35 points, have played one game less than us. And Miami, into Miami. How are they in there? Come on. They're on 36, so they're 14 points, and we've got 8 games left. That's 24 points up for grabs for DC United. Yeah. That's why the playoffs are dead to us now. So, yeah. Harish is going for a 1-1 draw. I would like that. I mean, that means we got a goal. It means we're not being beat. And it's progress. So, and it's at a tough stadium for us, generally speaking. The key thing is keeping Joseph Martinez quiet. Thiago Almeida quiet. For me, they're two big players. Almeida is a quality midfielder, and yeah, Martinez was, well, his record speaks for itself, doesn't it? My head says like a 2-0 defeat. My heart says a draw. So let's go with that. Let's go for the draw. I'll agree with Harish, a 1-1 draw. For the progress, for the goal, and for not getting beat. I would love to see a Cho start. I would love to see Nahar keep playing. I would love to see Benteke play. Paulson needs to be back in midfield. I'd love to see him actually keep the captain's armband. I think that was a good call by Wayne to give him that armband. Yeah. Heather's a great. Would love a 1-1 draw. I think we can do it. I think a 1-1 draw is not nowhere near out the realms of possibility. A win is, I mean, if I was a betting man and I put us to bet on a win, I'd win a lot of money. Let's put it that way. Cool. So 1-1 draws, I think, is kind of the theme there. But I'm looking forward to it. It's nice to have another 9 p.m. kickoff. That seems to be the way when we play Atlanta. Has been for a little while now. Whether it's been home or away, I like it. Those are the kind of kickoffs I can get behind. Hopefully next year when it's on Apple TV, that'll be it. We'll have sensible kickoffs. And we'll have a nice little extra bit of roof as well on the stadium. Right. We had one general question from Daniel, who you all know. Let me just get that little bit off the bottom of the screen there. There we go. Don't forget, obviously, subscribe and like this show. If you're not subscribed to the channel or subscribe to the podcast, do that now. And yeah, like this video because it always helps. So I want to see those like numbers going up. For one of the normal episodes, I think the most we've had is like 7 or 8 likes. So we need more than that. Come on, we could do it. And if you're listening to the podcast, please leave a little review. Whether it's you like the podcast, if you don't like it, tell me why you don't like it and what can I do to improve it. Because if I don't get criticism and constructive criticism, how will I get even better than I am now? Because I am good. I'll leave it good. Great. I'll let you guys decide if I'm great. So Daniel just asked, got any thoughts on how DCU will clean the house this off season? Probably by getting a feather duster and going up and getting the cobwebs out. But genuinely, there will be a lot of turnover in the playing squad, I think. I think this is where we'll see a few of the old heads leave. There's a few contracts coming up for renewal that probably won't get renewed. I think that's a huge possibility that that will happen. Um, and I think what we'll see is more younger players come in. I think that's what's going to happen. We'll have a few young heads coming through, whether that's through the academy and through Loudoun United remains to be seen. But I would love to see a few younger players being brought in, fresh blood, young blood, a bit of emphasis, a bit of passion, a bit of desire to really kick things on. The difficulty behind that is actually bringing those players in because of obviously the recent history, but the Wayne Rooney factor that will say a lot, and that's what said it all to Benteke because Wayne rang him and said, "Do you want to come?" So there is the Wayne Rooney effect there. So hopefully, we'll get a few people coming in. But in answer to your question, Daniel, feather duster, get in the corners, get on the tops of cupboards and things. That's how we will clean house this off season. How will I clean it? We'll get a Hoover out, make sure you get under the sofas, get under those, things like that. Right. We're coming up to trivia time for the answer. So, just to remind you guys, the question in 13 games against Atalanta United, we've had 13 different goal scorers. But who has scored the most goals? Any answers going to come in the chat before I reveal the answer? Is there anyone going to have a nice little guess? Because it's a good one. And it might not be who you expect it to be. Now, bearing in mind the first game against Atlanta United, let me just get the head-to-head back up again. So they've got a lovely website which brings up all the head-to-heads. That is on uk.soccerway.com. If you ever want to have a little look at it, it's fantastic. Gives you some great stats, gives you the history of the games, everything that you kind of need to know. Gives you goals scored, goals conceded. So we've scored 18 goals in total and conceded 22, just so you got that. And we've won 18 points. Obviously, we won 6. So the first game between the two sides was back on April 30th, 2017. So the fixture's only been gone for 5 years. But the answer to this week's trivia question is Lucho Acosta. He scored 5 times. But coming in second is Michael Parkhurst. He scored 2 own goals. Everyone else has scored a single goal against Atlanta United. So there you go. That is this week's trivia. I hope you enjoyed that one. Very, very interesting to see that. When I was looking through, I was like, okay, Costa's scoring quite a few. I was expecting some others with a couple of goals, but things like that. But no. Michael Parkhurst, former Atlanta United defender, scored 2 own goals for us. Doesn't that remind you of 2013? Anyway, so as I said at the beginning of the episode, 2023 starts now. The pressure's off, and we just need to get some goals in. Benteke could be making his debut, so hopefully that helps. But we're going to wrap things up now. We're just hitting just under the hour mark, so a bit of a shorter episode this week. But thank you all out there for watching. If you've tuned in live, thank you for watching if you've tuned in after the fact, and thank you for listening. It's always a pleasure. If you're not following on Twitter, it's at DC United Kingdom, Facebook, DC United Kingdom FC, and Instagram is DC UK FC. If you're want to support the show in any way, you can become a member of DC United Kingdom. All you need to do is just hit up dcunitedkingdom.com/membership. You'll see there's a Twitter group that we have. So the chat goes on in there. It's very, very cool. Anyone's welcome. It doesn't matter who you are welcome to come and join us. There is some great chat. There's some massive opinions in there. but that's what drives some great chat. So come and join us. And if you want to support the show in any other way, there's links down in the descriptions and in the show notes. You can buy me a coffee. There's buymeacoffee.com/the United Kingdom. But you can buy merch like this cherry blossom jersey. That's always available. There's other t-shirts, mugs, pint glasses, you name it. It's probably there. To come and join us, come and buy some merch, come and support the show, because everything goes back into the cost of the show, because it costs stuff to make this. But yeah, let's wrap things up. Thank you again for watching, listening. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and leave a little review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else that you can leave a review. And until next time, Farmers United.
Swelling on record, off record, I still want the act, not the ghost.